Hello.
I
Are you able
can't
to
even
hear me?
locate. He's well able to. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Lawrence. A warm welcome to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our speakers. I've been listening intently to everything that's been said. And I welcome everybody and all their contribution. But what I like to say is we have a serious problem in our country. We have a serious problem in our country. And sometimes we have to accept our own responsibilities to know where we're going right or wrong. There's police corruption. Of that, there's no doubt. We've all lived in Nigeria. We've all been to Nigeria. We can see it. But the problem I have with our country is we have no accountability. There is nobody accountable to anything. People have been saying that this is something that we should deal internally in Nigeria. We don't need Britain. We don't need overseas. How can they say that when we cannot solve it ourselves in our own country? If we could, we would. Who do we go to? Do we go to the president, who doesn't know his left from his right? He's not shown leadership in the problems we have in our country. Do we go to the governors? I always ask myself this question. Nigerian politicians are the best and most traveled on this planet. When they go to other countries, do they close their eyes? Do they blindfold themselves to not see what's going on? To not see what's going on in these other countries. That when we go back to Nigeria, we continue with the same problems. We're in 2020. And I read an article saying that Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world. And I don't think that there are many of us that will dispute that. And it's a shame. Because I'd like to tell you one little story. I live in Liverpool. I went to Liverpool University in 1982. In 1984, 4 people from Nigeria came to Liverpool University and needed to open a bank account. I took them to my own bank at that time. I presented them to the bank manager to say, look, these are my country people. They need a bank account. Would you believe it? Inside 10 minutes, the manager opened accounts for these 4 Nigerians. I asked the bank manager a question. I said, please, when I opened this bank account, I had to give some information about myself. Why have you opened the account to these 4 people without requesting certain information? He said, Lawrence, for 2 reasons. First of all, I know you. Secondly, they are Nigerians. Nigerians are truthful, God-fearing people. This is in 1984. How can we have gone so wrong in 35, 40 years? How is it possible? You politicians are the ones who've got to drive us forward. We have to learn by our mistakes. We cannot deal with this internally. We need the world to tell Nigeria that we have a major problem. Please, I love my country. And if there's any way we can correct it, please, let's do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Lawrence. It's now suddenly 6:30, 6:33 to be precise. I've got only 1 more hour. So I'm going to be inviting suggestions for what we need to include in what's going to be an A4 sheet of paper, what would forward to members of parliament to encourage them to do what is hopefully going to be in the short and long-term best interest of Nigeria, Nigerians, and in particular, the victims of the long saga of SARS. So I'm going to be inviting suggestions now. Those of you who are in the studio, my commentators, here's the moment you've been listening to the discussion. If you have suggestion, please just raise your hand and I will call you. But just keep it to the suggestion because we've got 1 hour. I want to leave this particular session with concrete recommendations from those of us who are here today. Otherwise, the time spent will be worth it. I've got somebody called Adewuyi. Now, please, your suggestions, please.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening for all the participants and the keynote speaker, who was my lecturer in evidence in the university. I have listened, as usual, intensely to what everybody is saying. My suggestion is that in order to get the UK Parliament to listen to us, we need to articulate facts to show them that they cannot wait for the conclusion of the Nigerian investigation, because investigations in Nigeria don't have conclusions. What I mean by those investigations don't have conclusion is the outcome of the investigations are predetermined before they set up the kangaroo investigation. So how on earth, when already a member of the government is already saying no such things happened, and this particular member in a high position in Nigeria will be there when the outcome of any investigations are getting prepared? What do we expect? We already got our answers. So we need to articulate facts to show them that it is a futile exercise to wait for the outcome of that investigation. They should go back and look at all the evidence that have been presented by the media and by other places where real evidence. And Mommy Erelu, you have a lot of evidence with you. So, having articulated the facts to encourage them not to wait for the outcome of investigation in Nigeria, we can then suggest to them that in the interim, they can apply sanctions to the members of that government, starting from the president himself. I know that he's got immunity. There's a lot of things that cannot happen to him, but it can prevent his cabinet members from traveling out of Nigeria for medical, for anything. There are various aspects of things that they can change to make them feel the pains we are feeling.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me, thank you very much indeed. Let me go straight on to someone else. Anyone else interested in suggestions? I'm going to go through the list. I've got Adewuyi Olorunfemi. I have Adewale Adeshida. So let me wait. Let's see, Adewale Adeshida. Any suggestions from you? Whilst I invite Oluwafemi Agbaje to please get ready if he or she has anything to say. Adeshida, please, any suggestion? Nothing from that. May I go straight on to Oluwafemi Agbaje? Any suggestion? Jenny Abateveda? None. Let me go straight on to Galaxy A40. Galaxy A40, any suggestion? For clarity, I'm asking for what we should say to the members of parliament who will be debating the petition on the 23rd. What do we say to change the, shall I say, reservation they have got? The reservation is, okay, so brutality went on, but the Nigerian authorities are currently investigating. If they are investigating, would it not make common sense to wait for the outcome? After all, it's their country. But I'm hearing, we got enough, these people are not reliable. Absolute waste of time. Amnesty International is giving us evidence, concrete. CNN, concrete. Basically, we are saying, for goodness sake, let's not wait for this particular government. It hasn't got any history of any reliability in any sphere. I've got somebody called Agbaje, I believe, who's just raised the hand. Mr. Agbaje, would you like to make suggestions? If you want to, please go ahead. Okay, nothing. I'm going to go to Biodun Badmos. And may I suggest that Bob Oni, if he has anything to say, Mr. Badmos? Any suggestion? Bob Oni, any suggestion? If I need to unmute you and I'm looking at it, you are. You don't need to be. Okay, let me go straight to, let me invite Engineer Lawrence Elijah. Any suggestions? Oh, I've got Adeboale's hand. I've got Adeboale's hand up. Please, as much as possible, Zoom is so sensitive to noise. Adeboale, your suggestion, please. Adeboale Adeshida, I take it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I've been following this and it's been very educative. My own suggestion is just one, and I would want to say that the UK government should prevent the Nigerian government from picking up these perceived protesters, because these are the voices that are going to tell us the truth and going to stand by the truth, because they are the ones that were there and witnessed all the things that happened. If we allow Nigerian government to pick them up or chase them into hiding, there's nowhere we can hear the truth. So if you are going to present a case to the UK government, I would suggest that the protesters or the perceived leaders of the protests, some of whose accounts have been frozen, some of who are being chased or hoodwinked here and there, should be protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me go straight on to. I would at some point invite my speakers. There's Junaid. Junaid, any suggestions, please?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. My own suggestion is that we would like to implore the UK government not to accept any findings from the federal government, because in this case, federal government is the body in question. So I don't think morally they have the justification or any standing to be the investigator of the same case they are being accused of. So presenting anything at all, it does not really worth it. So UK should make use of every other around, except anyone from the federal government, because I don't think they have any moral ground to present anything at all. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. If you've just joined us and you're wondering what's going on, we have actually listened to a number of speakers, and we are spending the last, what is now probably 50 minutes, looking at suggestions. I have Hakim hands up. Over to you. Your suggestions, please.
Hello, everyone. What I wanted to promulgate on this issue has already been exhibited by the previous speakers. But in addition, I would just, in my opinion, allow the parliament to go ahead with whatever sanction they're trying to impose. We should not forget that they have the facilities and they have the technical know-how to investigate what has actually happened in Nigeria, and they've arrived at that conclusion to do that. They've got their embassy in Nigeria, which they would have financed very well to investigate on this particular issue. So I wouldn't say they are wrong in any way coming to this decision. Because like some people said earlier on, there are ways Nigerian government will convert this investigation they're doing, and the investigation will go on forever. Nothing tangible is going to come out of it. This is not the first time such things are happening in Nigeria, that they kind of like not coming out with the truth, and they are traumatizing the old people involved. Bank accounts have been locked down. It's a democratic company, country, we say. But the way things are going is going to something like a tyrannical government. So, and we are here, but people are crying out for Amnesty and other international organizations to intervene in Nigeria. So I wouldn't stop the parliament if it's a measure to control our government. I wouldn't want us to interfere in whatever they want to do. Thank you.
Well, let me just quick amendment there, please. Let's see. I think I have lost myself there. Let me say the purpose of today is not about interfering with the position of the government. Let me repeat what you may have missed. 220,070 signatories to a petition. The British government didn't accept it because of its merit. No, the British government accepted it because it meets the requirement, which is the number of signatories required for a debate to take place. Having received the petition, the government has replied. The government said the position is as follows. There is enough evidence for concerns about police brutality, killings, and violence. However, they are aware that Nigerian authorities are currently carrying out their own investigation, and in fuller report is clearly stated that they will work with Nigerian government to get things right. So none of us sitting here wants to anything other than what will facilitate result. And our gathering today is about evidence, suggestions that will enable members of parliament who will debate this to say the government position, which is, investigation is going on. So as a parliamentarian will stand up and say, by the way, government, you may feel this is your position, but you are not right. You're not right because I have this, so drop it. That's the way democracy works in England. So somebody has to move the government from that perspective, that they shouldn't wait. And we're already getting information to say it's not a credible government. It's got a history of doing what suits it. Dictatorship, shall I say? Let me move on then and ask suggestions from Joel Adiremi. Over to you. Joel Adiremi, please, over to you. I will not take any comments from any speakers until I'm ready. Over to you, Joel Adiremi. Joel Adiremi, you've got your hand up. Okay, no sign. I've only got 10 more minutes, and I'm afraid I'm going to be going straight to my speakers. I'm going to start with Councillor Sonny Lambert. Your final thoughts on today.
Thank you so much, Irelu. And I think, can you hear me? Seems I'm having a problem with my screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Okay, because I was having a problem with my earpiece here. Yeah, thank you very much, Irelu, and thank you to our eminent professor. I think probably, well, you asked us to make some suggestions. Yes. I think I'm going to take leave from the gentleman that spoke just now, Hakeem Shitu. Yes, we recommend that we should allow the Nigerian government to complete the investigation. And then, but that doesn't stop the British government carrying out their own parallel investigation using our British embassy in Nigeria. And then complementing it, I don't know where the noise is coming from, Irelu, because there's so much noise coming through. Somebody must have done something. Is it from Ashiwaju? Can you turn off your thing, please? It's really disturbing. Can I continue? Okay, yeah, yes. So, second point, parallel investigation by and fact finding by the British government embassy in Nigeria, with access to protesters in order to get to the bottom, to get the truth, and then compare both with what Nigerian government comes out with, and then we can then decide whether it merits, whether we need to.
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there.
So
unless
that's my
there's
position.
Something very important you need to say. 30 seconds. Anything? Is that it? Anything else?
That's my, so final
Thank
decision
you.
on sanction should be based on that. That's my position.
Thank you. I want to go straight on to Prince Ajagbe. Your final thoughts, please.
Thank you, Elenu. Can I just make a quick confession, please, before I make my recommendation? Professor Salako made a reference to me at one time or the other. And I just let people know that he was my lecturer also at Jomo University. And of course, my thesis was in International Criminal Court and Africa. Thank you. So regarding the current events, I would like to recommend that the House of Parliament should actually make sanctions against state executives, both the judiciary, the presidential, and the politicians, and other state organs that actually help in persecuting our fellow citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me go straight on to Councillor Shadieti. Where are you?
I'm here, Relu. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for great discussion. A quick one. My contribution with regards to this is in threefold. Number one, everyone that is in UK, you have your councillors, you have your MPs. You can always write to your MPs, let them know how concerned you are with regards to what has happened in Nigeria towards the debate on Tuesday. And secondly, there is a group called All Party Parliamentary Groups on Nigeria within the parliament. And the need, this was actually created in order to have a better understanding on issues relating to Nigeria. If you could all remember, in June, there was the motion that was tabled at the parliament when we had terrible killings, which has been mentioned here in Nigeria. A motion was tabled at the House of Parliament, and it was signed by about 8 MPs.
Your recommendation,
So moving on,
your recommendation.
My recommendation, everyone in UK should, find a way to send an email to your MP with regards to your great concern on what is happening. Secondly, we can send email with regards to this to APPG. And thirdly, I would have expected a committee to have been constituted at House of Rep by now, because the way we do things here is about scrutiny and evidence-based. To have considered a committee by now to look into what has happened, but for now, nothing has happened.
I'm gonna stop you there and say we cannot tell. We've heard it before. The people in Nigeria, do they think they are representatives, Councillor? You think they are representatives? What we expect of them, if they've been doing it, we will not be in this position. I'm going to echo what you said.
That's true.
The reason why this, can I stop you? No, I won't allow.
Yes, madam.
If I hear what, no. What last one?
I just want question to Professor Salako.
No question. No.
Okay, comment. If we have to go through ICC.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Relu.
Say no.
That's fine.
Thank you. Let's move on. Let me make it clear. You were not here at the beginning. Anything that is coming out of here is going to go into a bullet sheet. It's going to go into A4 sheets of bullet points, which will be widely circulated for anybody to do what they like. It's not very easy for people to write to any politician. I've been through a long story. The whole thing will be lost in the middle of nothing. Let's move on to the next person so that I know where I am. I want to go straight on to Otuba Femi Okutubo. Over to you. Recommendation, are you there?
Yeah, 4 key final thoughts on this. Number one, it's the prerogative of Britain to impose sanctions, but at the same time, Nigeria and its people need to deal with the issues of police brutality, oppression, and inequalities in the society. I also believe that there's no point cutting a branch of a bad tree and leaving the roots, or calling on foreigners to cut the branches when our solutions are actually domestic. And finally, the peaceful protest that we had in October is a classic example of how change can be effected in Nigeria. So I think our solutions are back in Nigeria. But again, it's a prerogative of Britain if it wants to impose sanctions.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me see. I need to go straight to El Savantai. I saw somebody's hand earlier on. If the person wants to raise the hand again, I will happily take comments. And there was a gentleman, I believe, who raised the hands, and I can't see any person anymore. Let me look at who else before I go to a couple of other people. I have got in the audience somebody who should have something to say. Engineer Ajayi, are you still with us? Suggestion, recommendation? No? Anybody before I invite Papa Adebanjo to deliver the last bullet points for us? Anybody else in the audience, please? Anybody in the audience that is desperate to say anything?
Madam,
Anybody else?
I would recommend that the British government do it without waiting for the report from Nigeria, please. We should not wait.
That's okay.
We should not wait because we don't know when that report's going to come out, and we pretty much know what it will say.
Okay.
Please.
Now that I still have a few more minutes, anybody else desperate to say something before I bring Papa Adebanjo in to have the last few minutes, and then I close? Councillor Eti, you still want to come back? Haven't got a minute or two?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask Professor Salako, that
Yes.
if we have to go through the route, if we have to go through with regards to ICC, how long will the process take, and how realistic will it be when they are out of government? How realistic will the process? I'm just curious when it comes to that. Just wanted to know more. Thank you,
Professor.
Yes,
Right.
it should be an ongoing process. The best way of doing that is to lodge a complaint with the Human Rights Council. And there is abundant evidence to lodge that complaint. When the complaint is lodged, then they will appoint an officer to look into it. The officer will prepare a report, and that will determine whether a referral will be made. We need this because the crimes alleged are crimes against humanity, which are only triable in the International Criminal Court. And we shouldn't be allowing them to get away with this. And one other thing, it is true, it's the prerogative of the UK Parliament to impose sanctions or not to impose sanctions. But the crimes alleged are crimes against humanity. In fact, they took steps to introduce a law to enforce the provisions of the Rome Statute in United Kingdom. So in order to stop that, we need the international community to intervene. Sovereignty or no sovereignty.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to invite Papa Chief Ayo Adebanjo, a very chieftain for over 70 years, and somebody I hope when I'm 92, I'll be able to do exactly what he's doing. I want to invite him to have the last say before I do a summary. Over to you, sir.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, Papa, sir.
Oh,
yes,
thank you. I want to thank everybody again, from Professor Narkoda, Councillor, and everybody, and all those of you who contributed, and Okukutubo and all that. But I want to beg you, all that we do until this constitution is changed, we should be under oppression. All the things you are complaining of, the president is empowered to do it under this constitution, which is refusing to change. By the time you go to do that, you go to the root of our problem and undermine anything, any power that has been using. The police, the everything, security, all the security forces in the country is in his hand because of the powers that are there. So when you go up and down, it is the power under the constitution is using to terrorize any opposition. So until that one is gone, we shall be repeating. You will be repeating, you will be passing on laws, fake laws, all sorts of social media and all that thing. Anybody that he believes is opposed to him, he will do. Please, the only thing is to remove the constitutional power from him and let him do the thing constitutionally. Let us live under a constitution contributed to by every federating unit, which is our own constitution. This constitution is a fraudulent constitution. The preamble, the contents, and everything. We are not, this is not the people of Nigeria that made it. We are not federal. And because we are not federal, it's using the unitary form of government to oppress us. The question of state police, local government, they are all in the of the constitution, which were not there at independence. And I want to emphasize that. The problem we are having now is not the problem of our founding fathers, it's the problem imposed by the military, which is being continued by the president's regime. Hello?
I can still hear you, sir. Over to you, sir. Yes.
So if my plea to Parliament, to those of you contributing, to the professors and to all of you, is to make sure and emphasize now, instead of diverting our attention to 2023 election and all that, 2023 election is already predicted under this constitution.
All the problem we are complaining about is in this constitution. And it is even not by saying there is amending the constitution. Because the parliament that is amending it is a product of this iniquitous constitution. How can you amend a constitution made by the people who say we don't want? Well, we are not amending a constitution we don't know about. It is not our constitution. So the only thing fair and free and fair for us is to go back to the basics, go back to where we are. Until that one is done, there is nothing you can do. Because the man is impervious to reason.
Thank you very much, Papa. Before I thank everybody, let me say, sitting here, I have come to the following conclusion. I have three strands to this. An important strand is where Papa has stopped. And this is where Councillor Shadieti's suggestion is going to be quite valid. The situation of the country, the ongoing disregard for the request to restructure is a relevant matter for the All-Parliamentary Committee on Nigerian Affairs. That is solid. Because that, in fact, is the root cause of the breakdown. Associated with that is, of course, the what has been a long-standing displeasure from 1999, perhaps, about this 1999 Constitution. So, thank you, Councillor Eti. I hope you realize that that is where that can go. I'm not sure who is there again. I plead. Let me say the other strand is what Professor said. We must get ready to pursue the angle to go above the UK Parliament. That I certainly will be working on to ensure we are clear how that can be done, for in the interest of natural justice, we want to get a permanent solution to what has been many years of killings, 1999 killings, this year killings, that year killings, and dictatorship. The third angle, of course, is welcoming the attempt by the 220,070 signatories to the petition, welcoming their requests to UK Parliament, wholeheartedly in support of that, but explaining firmly that the issue of reliability of Nigerian authorities to effectively conduct reliable investigation, which will truthfully provide evidence in support of what we already know, is probably not relevant. On that note, I want to say it's been quite a pleasure to listen to all of you advance your evidence based on your own thoughts. I want to start off by thanking all of those who have joined me at home, those who are already in the studio, in particular, Lawrence, who was the first to arrive. Thank you. Oh, no, was it Lawrence? No, I think Papa was the first. Correction. Thank you very much, Papa Adebanjo, for being the first. Thank you, Lawrence, for joining me. Councillor Eti. Oh, you know, I'm going to move you to the Conservative Party soon. That's the next.
No, I always be in my Labour Party.
Thank you, dear. Thank you,
Labour
dear.
all the way. Labour all the way.
You see. Thank you, dear sister. You're always there. You're always
We are
there.
not here to promote our parties. I'm sorry.
You see the boy, you see the
I don't mix. I don't make politics when I'm in here. I'm sorry. I'm
I've
sorry.
been outnumbered. I've been outnumbered. Thank you
Definitely.
very much. Thank you very much. They are colleagues. Councillor Lambert, thank you very much for
Don't worry, I'm
joining
watching
me.
your back, my sister. You are not
Thank you.
outnumbered.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, I think the fact that you can see that the two main political parties are here, it also is significant evidence of the importance of this petition, and not just this petition, finding a long-lasting way forward, which will bring, I would say, autonomy to different sections of the country today known as Nigeria. But that cannot happen until the constitution that is controversial is effectively dealt with. On that note, who is Casey who wants to say something? Do I have to respond? Okay. What have you got to say? Over to you, Casey.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
evening, sir. Good evening, everyone who's been around, and I've been listening attentively on what that they said, and I'm really happy and excited that I had the opportunity to join this Zoom. Actually, the link was sent to me by a friend. So I happened to have time and I decided to join. And I've been listening attentively, and I'm really happy with the category of people who were in the Zoom, and for all they have spoken, especially to Pa Adebanjo. I've been listening to him on YouTube, on his channels, on different platforms. And I'm really grateful that we had people like him still alive, strong, intelligent, and his brain still articulating everything that happened, and he's still here to send down that message. I thank you, the councillors, for organizing this. I've learned so much from all that have been shared and spoken and suggestions. I'm raising my hand at the end because I've been itching to really say something. And why I'm so passionate and happy and excited is I know Nigeria has wonderful, educated, intelligent people all around the globe, especially in diaspora, who has all it takes to make Nigeria better. We feel so pain. We still have young children in diaspora, and we want our kids to know who they are, where they're coming from. But the situation is so painful, and we really don't have much platform where we can speak our mind out and people will listen. So I'm happy to be here. And with what you spoke on, Councillor Remu, I am so happy. To lead, please, as you've said this, let it not stop. Let you take your intelligence, your exposure, your opportunities you've had to be up there. Everyone has spoken this evening to do the three things you've listed. One, please have to look at what Pa Aremo has been saying. He has been saying it and he's been shouting it and he's been shouting it loud. Now he's still here with us. Let us listen to him. Because they said the voice of the elders are the voice of wisdom, and he knows what he's saying. Secondly, for what you said with regard to, you're gonna take up this problem above the British Parliament. You all knew that British has all it takes to even do their own personal investigation. They knew Nigerian government are lying. They knew everything's going on. So they have the power to go further and do more. But they've not done much now. Hello, listen, are you hearing me, please?
Yes.
Yes, we are hearing you. Yes.
So you knew they had the power. They are the one part of what is going on, and they have all it takes to make sure Nigeria becomes like Europe. You know what UK is like? Everybody has power to protest and did nobody get shot, get hurt? Even if you get hurt, ambulances are there to look after you, police are there to protect you. So they knew all this, and they are at the forefront of our country. They're supposed to be even further than even any other country in the world to step in. So now we're taking it, even though they're still going to wait, depending on what they're going to decide, whether to sanction or not to sanction. I'm happy that he said we're looking further with what Professor has said. That's going to take it further. Keep looking towards the higher people who can deal with abuse of human rights. While British are waiting for Nigerian government to take on their own decision whether to sanction or not to sanction, let those who have the ability, the power, the position to write, to read, to communicate to the human rights to go further and look into the level of killing that is going on. We have families there and we're always here, we can't sleep because you don't know what's happening next. But the 3 points you've raised, please, I'll be so happy and I'll be interested to join whenever any of this program is on. And we can take it further. It's us that in diaspora that can do something using our knowledge, our exposure, our intelligence, and we can do so without fighting, without being violent, without abusing anybody. That we use the law, the knowledge of what we have, what we've learned, what we've seen from the Western world to see how our country can be better. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of this meeting this evening. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Thank you. What a bet. I don't think. Yes, I don't think I could have rounded everything up so well. So, something always look after me. When I was planning this, please, sir. Right, sir. Please, sir.
I'd like to, you have been mentioning the role of the PG people. Yes, maybe I have to add this for them. Yes, I am not optimistic about the British people. Yes, those of us who know our independence problem, yes, they are part of the problem we are having today. They are always shy to do the right thing. And that is why I said at the beginning that this is an opportunity for them to right the wrong that they have done. They know the truth. Yes. They're always thinking about preaching incense, not the interest of the people concerned. So I am not optimistic about their stand. If they do the right thing this time, then we know that there's a change. So when people have been talking, the preacher will do this today. The democracy they do at home, they don't export it when it comes to their interest. So that is the view of those of us who are present before independence. So if they want to change that view, this is an opportunity for them. That's right.
Well, thank you, sir. And I think having listened to Casey and Papa now, I will go back to what Councillor Shadieti said. Now, this all-parliamentary committee on Nigerian affairs, that's be my next stop. He who wants to see others change must learn to change. And what I have learned to do a lot more when I sit in this seat is to take on board what he said. So on that note, I'm saying the most important aspect of what everybody wants dealt with, that is the Nigerian Constitution, the restructuring, that is the next session I shall be inviting you all to begin to find a way forward. Meanwhile, I shall not let Professor Salako run away from me. I shall ensure I catch him by the wrists so we can prepare a good quality paper between today and tomorrow to circulate. And again, I want to listen to my dear sister, Councillor Shadieti, to say, look, when I send this to all of you, make sure you get them to your colleagues, because if I send it to them, they will think I'm blue. They won't answer me. So you do the blues. I'll do don't you go near the blues. You go near the reds. and the rest. Councillor Lambert, you are always across the board. So I'm going to rely on three of us. Three of us have got work to do. And also, of course, Prince, who can ignore you and the weight you have in Merseyside and surrounding across the tribes. You're true Nigerian. So I think, as Casey said, we've got all it takes. What we need now is the will to get up and do what needs to be done. And on that note, I want to say to those that haven't been able to mention their names, because I don't want to mention their names, I want them to be quietly listening to me. There's one particular person in the audience, I thank her very much for always being there for me day and night. And to those of you who I haven't mentioned by name, accept my sincere gratitude for your presence today, whilst I look forward to having you with me, alongside me, with Professor Salako back with us again. Until then, it's Erelu Tuwashe saying to those who are out there and those around me, thank you for viewing, thank you for your participation. My best wishes today and always. Good night.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Padre Banjo. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the professor. Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Mr. Femi Otuba and everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. And please stay safe. Stay safe, please. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for coming, Councillor.
Thank you, Prof. God bless you.
Thank
you,
Professor
Salako. Nice talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, we have to put an opposing view.
The most influential Nigerian.
That's why my sister and I are in the different party. We have to.
That's right, Joe. We get on well.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, good night.
I really enjoyed the meeting, man.
Captain
Thank you so
Alao,
much.
who came from Nigeria. Captain Alao, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Good night now. Good night, all.
Good night.
I'm just about to end the meeting.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.